The Weeping Walls of Chichen Itza. Echoes of the sacrifice on April 1925. A group of tourists were visiting the ancient ruins of Chichen Itza in the Yucatan when they noticed something very strange happening on the Temple of Kukulkan, also called the El Castillo. He claimed that the pyramid weeps when it's full. But could this be true? Or is there another explanation for the weeping wall? Let's find out in today's episode. As the sun rose over the horizon, they started seeing wet, blood-like streaks running down the side of the pyramid. Some say that the streaks are actually the shadows of faces screaming on the stone. To see this, you need a drone flying at just the right angle in the early morning light. When the sun hits the pyramid at a particular angle, the shadows of 9 faces form on the stone as if the very walls of the temple are screaming into the sky. This happened every day around the same time and in the same place. Well, let's go back in history to find out. The tourists reported this phenomenon to the site's management, who didn't have any explanation for it. The Aztecs, for example, believed that they needed human hearts to keep the sun moving across the sky. The sight of the 9 faces screaming into the sky is truly terrifying. But what do they have to say? You see the shadows take shape and hear the screams of the damned. What would you do? Would you run away in terror? Or would you try to help the souls trapped inside? According to legend, these are the souls of the victims trapped inside the pyramid. Some believe that the voice belonged to a god, and it was the god who accepted the boy as an offering. Was he really sacrificed, or did he vanish into thin air? Let me know in the comments below. Whatever the truth may be, the story of the boy who touched the weeping wall serves as a reminder of the dangers of greed and the importance of respecting ancient cultures. Legend has it that one day a young boy couldn't resist the urge to touch the mysterious wall. As he reached out to stroke the cold, hard stone, he vanished without a trace. His body was never found, but his voice echoed from the steps of the pyramid. He cried out, "Another offering." They're trying to escape and warn us of the horrors that took place here in ancient times. So they would capture enemy warriors and sacrifice them in elaborate ceremonies. The Inca also practiced human sacrifice, often throwing their victims off a cliff to their death. That meant that the victims were often tortured in front of crowds of spectators. Some say the boy wasn't actually sucked into the pyramid, but rather sacrificed by the locals as an offering to the gods. They wanted to test their faith and see if the gods would accept this gift. If that's true, then the boy knew what he was getting himself into. He may have even been honored to be chosen for such a special sacrifice. It would be burned, flayed alive, or torn apart by jaguars. If you want to learn more about the gruesome details of human sacrifice, be sure to check out my other videos on the topic. This deep pit was filled with water and was used for religious rituals. The Mayans believed that the cenote was a gateway to the underworld, and they would offer human sacrifices to appease the gods. They would drop the victims into the cenote and watch as they disappeared into the darkness. The Mayans believed that these people had no value in life, so they were easy to sacrifice. However, sometimes the Mayans would capture important figures from other cultures and sacrifice them as a way of showing their power. Imagine being a great warrior or a respected leader, only to be captured and thrown into a dark hole. The fear and terror that these people must have felt as they plummeted into the unknown is truly horrifying. The mystery only grew as more and more visitors came to witness the weeping wall for themselves. One day, a local guide confessed that according to an old Mayan belief, the pyramid absorbed the souls of those who were sacrificed there. A few years after the tourists started reporting the weeping wall, a new discovery shed some light on the mystery. Archaeologists discovered a secret passageway hidden behind one of the temple's staircases. The passageway led to a small chamber where human bones were found. It was clear that this was a sacrificial chamber used for ceremonies where people were killed and their bodies were left inside the pyramid. This discovery confirmed the local guide's story that the pyramid absorbed the souls of those who were sacrificed there. But what about the weeping wall? Some people believe that the pyramid actually weeps blood whenever it's full of souls. However, there's no evidence to support this claim. The streaks that the tourists saw could have been caused by something else entirely. For example, there are many caves in the area that contain mineral-rich water. Perhaps the streaks were simply water seeping out of the limestone and mixing with the red soil, creating the illusion of blood. Or maybe the streaks were made by animals or plants growing on the pyramid. After all, nature has a way of finding cracks in even the oldest buildings. However, there's another explanation for the weeping wall that's even more fascinating. This brings us to the question, why do these shadows appear now? Why haven't we seen them before? And why are they so terrifying? In the ancient Mayan city of Chichen, there was a sacred cenote known as the Well of Sacrifice. But the Mayans weren't the only ones who sacrificed people in ancient times. In fact, human sacrifice was a common practice among many different cultures. Now, let's get back to the story. Among the most common victims offered at the Well of Sacrifice were slaves and prisoners of war. To make matters worse, the Maya believed that the gods enjoyed watching the sacrifices. But now, it's time to return to the shadows on the El Castillo. Imagine standing at the base of the pyramid as the sun rises. Speaking of souls trapped inside pyramids, have you ever heard of the story of the boy who touched the weeping wall? But there may be more to the story than meets the eye. But what about the voice that echoed from the pyramid? Could it really have been the boy crying out for mercy? Or was it something else entirely? But now I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think happened to the boy who touched the weeping wall? And if you want to learn more about the mysteries of ancient pyramids, be sure to check out my other videos. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Your support keeps this channel alive and lets us bring you even more creepy, mysterious content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Your support keeps this channel alive and lets us bring you even more creepy, mysterious content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.